there's something that I don't see anyone talking about, and it's the female loneliness epidemic.
The reason that there's a female loneliness epidemic.
Can we talk about why modern women are lonelier than ever?
They don't want you.
We were told modern dating would be easier, faster, better. More freedom, more choice, more control. But in 2026, something feels off. Because having everything available somehow turned into having nothing that lasts. If everyone has more options than ever, why does dating feel more empty than ever? Stay with us if you want to know the reason.
There's a man up here that posted and said, "We aren't having a male loneliness epidemic. It's natural selection." No one is choosing you because you don't have the things that would make a very good next generation. It's not male loneliness. It is inadequacy and incompetence. And honestly, probably something about the way you look just doesn't sit right with people. So.
Why do I get the sense that the next video this woman's gonna post is about how she's 35 or 40 and she's single, but she's happy. She wants to be single. She don't need no man. Meanwhile, she's like crying to her 15 cats. Unless you as a woman, you're willing to share a man. But what's crazy to me is that women are still trying to use this article that was released a few years ago, and they're still relating this male loneliness to only relationship loneliness. That's not it, ladies. They're also talking about the lack of friendships, and I think that it has way more to do with that than actual relationships. But yet, women are trying to utilize it as another way to shame men. And even some men are using it to shame other men to appease women. And that is really messed up.
There's a growing conversation about loneliness, and it's not limited to one side. Despite constant connection online, real-life relationships are becoming harder to form and even harder to maintain.
I'm so tired of hearing about the male loneliness epidemic, so let's talk about the female loneliness epidemic, because we're experiencing one too. The one where men treat you like you're some fantasy object, and the moment they realize you're an actual human being with thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they're gone. Or when they want you for your body, but never have any intention of actually getting to know it or respecting it. Or when they want you for your emotional intelligence, even though they have no intention of ever reciprocating it. Or when they want you for what you can do for them, but they don't want you for who you are. That's loneliness. Crying yourself to sleep every night next to a partner who claims to love you even though his actions never follow his words, that's loneliness. Being too afraid to open yourself up to love and opening yourself up to men because we live in a world where SA, domestic violence, and femicide is so normalized, that's loneliness. The difference is that the male loneliness epidemic is self-inflicted and the female loneliness epidemic is self-preservation.
A big part of this shift is participation. Fewer men are actively pursuing, fewer people are initiating, and more are stepping back. When effort drops across the board, the entire system slows down.
I'm really curious if anyone else in LA feels like you have a social life, you have friends, but you really just feel so lonely, like all the time. There's always so much going on. You have people to talk to, you have people to hang out with, but at the end of the night, you come home and you're like, did any of those people actually really care to get to know me, like for who I am? Do I actually really even know any of them? Luckily, over time, I've made amazing friends here, but making friends here has not been the same as making friends in Seattle where I grew up. There's things about LA that I love so much more than my hometown. There's something about this place that just makes me constantly question what is real and what is not. I don't know how else to describe it other than being on a movie set 24/7 and you don't know when the cameras are rolling and people are in character or when they're not. I think in order to be really happy living here, you just gotta find the real ones. Like you have to find the right people and it's not always easy.
At the same time, expectations haven't dropped, they've increased. People want more compatibility, more value, more certainty. But higher expectations with lower engagement creates a gap that's hard to close.
I just saw the funniest video and I'm gonna tell you all about it. It was a guy who was like, the reason that there's a female loneliness epidemic is because of a problem that they created. Feminism created this loneliness epidemic. Do you all think we're lonely? I am not lonely. I do not know a single woman that is lonely. I know tons of women who want you all to leave us alone. We make up boyfriends so that you all will leave us alone. What do you mean the female loneliness epidemic? That's not real, bro. never be real. Never. I'm sorry. That probably pains you. But I promise, there's no female that is lonely out there unwillingly.
Social media has amplified everything. It makes it look like better options are always one swipe away. But that illusion often leads to indecision rather than satisfaction.
There are only 2 instances in which a woman would ever hypothetically hit the wall. And I say hypothetically because women don't hit the wall. Okay? That is a concept invented by men that is projected onto women. But women don't hit the wall. But if they were to hit the wall, hypothetically speaking, the only 2 times they would ever hit the wall would be 1, if they're literally dead, and 2, if they decide to stop taking care of themselves. And I'm not talking about just taking care of your physical appearance, because that is what a lot of women focus all their attention on. But when you as a woman are able to take care of your physical appearance, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, you're in tune with yourself, you don't neglect yourself, you don't neglect your needs, you have a community of people who support you and understand you, you're never, ever gonna hit the wall. The reason why men love saying you're gonna hit the wall is because they're scared of hitting the wall. They're scared of being old and alone, and they want you to hurry up and settle for them so that they're not old and alone. So it's projection. Not to mention, it's completely untrue that nobody's gonna want you as you get older, as long as you as a woman continue taking good care of yourself, because the amount of men who want you actually increases. That's why I said, you're not gonna hit the wall as a woman unless you're literally dead or you decide to stop taking care of yourself. Because if you're not gonna stop taking care of yourself, men are constantly gonna want you. Constantly. Even if you're married with kids, divorced, widowed, whatever, they're gonna want you. That is a fact. So stop letting these red pill men scare you with this hitting the wall phrase that they love to use, because we all know it's just a projection of how scared they are of being old and alone. It's just funny to me the way these men think that their attention determines our value, when in reality most of us don't want their attention, and also they don't look like people that we want attention from. So it's just a little conflicting to me when I hear things like hitting the wall, because I'm like, when would that ever be a thing for any woman? Unless she was literally dead or stopped taking care of herself. And that's on that. Period.
Another factor is emotional burnout. After repeated disappointments, people stop investing the same energy. Not because they don't want connection, but because they're tired of the process.
There's going to be nothing like the female loneliness epidemic that you're going to see with this generation of women when they hit the 40s. It's going to be out of control.
Many years from now, there is going to be a quiet crisis, loneliness in women especially. Not because women failed, not because they weren't capable or intelligent, but because they were handed a script or a blueprint that left out the consequences. Be self-sufficient, put your career first, you don't need a man. So they followed it. They pushed love down the line. They delayed the family. They treated commitment like something that could always wait until it didn't. Fast forward a few years later. You're older, no partner, no children, no legacy, just some noise to fill that silence.
There's going to be nothing like the female loneliness epidemic that you're going to see with this generation of women when they hit the 40s. It's going to be out of control. When these 20-somethings hit 40-something, there's going to be massive devastation. There's going to be, the pharmaceutical companies are going to be like, yeah, cashing in on the antidepressants and all of that if they go that route.
There's also a shift toward independence. Many people are building lives they're comfortable in alone. And while that's empowering, it also reduces urgency to compromise or commit.
The red pill guys have this kind of revenge fantasy where it's like, oh, you won't date me now in your 20s, but in your 30s, just you wait. And it's like, okay, women in their 30s are doing fine. Women are much less likely, statistically, to be single in their 30s versus their 20s. And the average age of marriage in terms of median is 29. For women. Yeah. It's about 29. It depends on UK, Australia, Canada, okay, US, but around 29, which means that half of women, median, so half of women are getting married at an age older than 29.
The result is a kind of quiet stalemate. People want meaningful relationships, but few are willing to take the risks required to build them.
Can we talk about why modern women are lonelier than ever? Because nobody wants to admit the real reason. I see it everywhere. Successful women with amazing careers, perfect Instagram feeds, but they're absolutely miserable and isolated. And I know because I used to be one of them. We were told that independence was everything, that we didn't need anyone, that needing people was weakness, so we built these perfect little walls around ourselves. We chose careers over relationships, being right over being loved, and proving ourselves over connecting with others. We pushed away anyone who tried to get close to us because we had to be strong. And now we're sitting in our perfectly decorated apartments, scrolling through dating apps, wondering why we feel so empty inside. We have everything modern feminism promised us, but we've never been more alone. Because the truth is, humans are wired for connection. Especially women, we need community, partnership, and deep relationships. But we've been convinced that wanting these things makes us weak or pick-me's. The loneliness epidemic isn't an accident. It's what happens when you tell women to reject everything that actually fulfills them. You can have all the success in the world, but if you don't have real connection, you have nothing.
And when no one moves first, nothing happens. Conversations don't start, connections don't grow, and opportunities pass without being noticed.
They don't want you. They don't want you. You actually have to be likable to find someone. The fact that women don't need men to survive anymore has caused the male loneliness epidemic. Men had to manufacture a sense of need for their presence. And you don't know how to be desirable to women, so you're lonely. Aww. Aww. Thoughts and prayers.
What looks like disinterest is often caution. What looks like confidence is sometimes avoidance. And what looks like abundance can actually hide a lack of real connection.
I'm sure by now many of you have heard of the male loneliness epidemic, but did you know that there is also a female loneliness epidemic? And it's not what you think it is, because it's not a single woman with cats. Those women are quite happy and they're not lonely at all. The women I'm talking about are in marriages that are unfulfilling. And this can range anything from just feeling dismissed and invalidated all the way to SA and DV. Because when you're in a marriage and you think that you're in a partnership only to find out that the partner you're with is not looking at you as a real person, doesn't value you as a real human being, looks at you as their accessory and not as someone who has sovereignty and their own identity, that feeling is so lonely and isolating. And how do I know? I lived it. I was married for 18 years in a marriage that was so unfulfilling, and I tried everything I could to make it right. And what's super irritating about the whole thing is that everyone tells you marriage is so hard, marriage is difficult, you've got to work at it. Yeah, okay, great, thank you so much for that wonderful piece of information, but all that did was make me work so hard at really nothing. Because marriage is hard, so it should be hard. It wasn't as hard for him as it was for me. Let's be quite clear about that. And I feel like that's also a ploy to get women to do more and to sacrifice more because, marriage is so difficult. But that's a different subject. What I'm saying is, yeah, women are lonely too. And they're mostly lonely in marriage that promised them a forever partner, someone to do life with, and a community. And when I left my toxic marriage only to immediately get into another relationship with another man who was equally as bad, I realized that I would much rather be alone than in a relationship with a man who does not value me. If you're realizing that you are lonely in your marriage, follow me. I'm here to support you. I know what it's like. And being able to talk about it and being able to figure out that you're not alone, that's community. And that's matriarchy. And the matriarchy is rising. Can you feel it?
The uncomfortable truth is that modern dating rewards short-term attention more than long-term effort. And that makes stable relationships harder to sustain.
It has nothing to do with being scared.
Can we please bring back men coming up to us? Why are you so scared? Why are you so scared of coming up to us?
It has nothing to do with rejection.
Genuinely, I don't I get it, rejection, okay, I get it. However, if you go up to a girl in a nice way, I don't think you can fail.
Men are not afraid to walk up to you, and we have no problem actually initiating. Everything you said in the video is disingenuous. And respectfully, you don't get it. At the end of the day, you might have experienced rejection, but you've never experienced the male experience. So no, you don't get it. And that's the reason why you're not getting approached, because you don't get it. Men are definitely exhausted. They're very tired. And I'm going to tell you why you're not being approached. And it's very simple. We're tired of the no text backs. We're tired of spending money on dates and then all of a sudden you disappear and we have no idea. We're tired of scheduling and trying to get a date, but you're constantly busy and always going somewhere. We're tired of all of the insults, the I don't need a man, adulting that's just being confused for independence, the gaslighting, the lies, all of the over-sexualization of yourself, but then we're wrong for even joining in or calling it out. The constant going out every weekend and not expecting to be hit on or make a mistake ever. Mind you, not every guy is experiencing this, but this is the thing that is the biggest deterrent to everything. Stop expecting us to just be okay with the mind games and the constant pain of not understanding. Why is it so difficult to get to know you? So stop trying to, honestly, you seem very genuine in your video. It's just you don't know what you're saying is disingenuous. But just insinuating that we have a fear of something that we're very used to, take rejection. Men have to be rejected for the most part. Like, guys aren't going to walk up to majority of the girls in their life and they're going to say yes. And rejection isn't always at the beginning. A lot of times rejection is later on in the end. It takes a lot to deal with just y'all as a person. The nagging, the constant beration, the problems, the meanness, all that stuff is culminating into, well, I'm just not going to walk up to her because I just don't want to talk to that anymore. I have experienced it far too often where I am talking to a girl and in the middle of me having a pleasant conversation, she'll just make a gay joke for some reason. And it's just like, it wasn't funny. I'm not trying to find a girlfriend for her to be my homie. I'm looking for someone soft, feminine, sweet to talk to ease my day. Not trying to come and play the dozens with you after a long day of work. So no, this idea that you are like, the idea that we're afraid of rejection or to walk up to you is not the problem. And until y'all start addressing these root causes, this is how it will remain.
At the same time, loneliness doesn't always look obvious. It can exist alongside busy lives, social media activity, and outward confidence.
Here's something that I don't see anyone talking about, and it's the female loneliness epidemic. I just turned 23 and I am officially done with looking for new friends because nowadays girls are fucking impossible to make friends with. Before you call me a pick-me, hear me out. In my experience, young women today do not know what it means to be a friend. They expect everyone, including other women, to chase them the same way men chase them romantically. It's always me texting first. It's always me making plans. It's always me arranging reservations to make hangouts happen. Only to be told the day of that, like, oh, something came up, / they straight up admit that they forgot. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, girl. And their I'm so sorries are never followed up by, let me make it up to you. How about we do this or this instead? It's always just, I'm so sorry, blank. All these girls want to do is just be Instagram mutuals. They want to like your posts. They want you to like theirs. They want to swipe up on your story. They want like little crumbs of your attention, but they are not actually looking for like a real life friend with like substance and value. And
at the end of the day, the issue isn't that people don't want connection. It's that the current system makes it harder to achieve. And until expectations and behavior align again, that disconnect is likely to continue.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.